Hello, and welcome to the Behavior Education Connection, the podcast that works to connect the world of behavior analysis and the world of education. We focus on topics important to behavior analysts who work in the public schools and those who support them. Join us and spend time gaining insights and ideas as our host talks with fellow behavior analysts as well as other experts in the field. Hello, and welcome to the Behavior Education Connection. I'm your host, Dr. Selena Layden, and I am joined today by Stephanie Dayberry. Hi, Stephanie.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well today.
I'm so excited for you to be here. Do you mind introducing yourself to our listeners?
Sure. I'm Stephanie Dayberry. I've been in the education field since 2008. I was a early childhood special education teacher. I became a BCBA February 2024.
Congratulations.
And it's really nice working with students. And when I was in the classroom, I had a lot of students with behaviors. And so it's very nice to be able to give back and help support staff who do have students with behaviors, because we all know it's a form of communication, or it's just a need that both staff and students require in a classroom setting in order for them to meet their educational skills. So.
All right, well, welcome again, and I'm glad you're here. So what we're talking about today is a tool that you use within your position to support some of the work that you do. And so that tool, a lot of our listeners may be familiar with. It's called the Performance Diagnostic Checklist, Human Services. Could you tell us a little bit about what the tool is in case someone's not familiar with it?
Sure. The Performance Diagnostic Checklist Human Services was created from another checklist in which they looked at different organizations and how they structured their work and how staff participated in basically did their performance or needed help with it. So the human services looks at, of course, our structure in the educational world, or behavior services. And it's a tool that we're able to look at our staff to see where they need assistance with, whether it's needing more training or it's needing more resources. And sometimes it can help us get into the nit and gritty of a can't do versus a won't do situation. And it's just a great checklist to see an overview effect of when staff needs extra support and how to support them moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's a great little tool and it's pretty fast. It's only 15, 20 questions. It's not much. Um, and as I've used it before, it's really kind of it's partially an observation tool, but it's also partially like kind of what you know about the environment and your experience with it. It asks a couple questions. I have it up here because I just want to make sure that everyone kind of knows what we're talking about. It asks a couple questions about certain areas. Training is the first area, which I think gets at that can't do, won't do part that you were talking about. Like, have they actually received the training to be able to do their job? Because I
Mm-hmm.
think sometimes people get into situations and they haven't received the training or they haven't received enough training in order to be able to accomplish what we're asking. The second area is task clarification and prompting, then resources, materials, and processes, and then performance, consequence, effort, and competition. And so when you use this, you kind of answer yes or no. Sometimes it's NA, some things don't always apply to all the situations. And then you kind of look at the questions that they didn't do well on, and it kind of leads you to what some potential interventions might be under those areas. So when you're using this, what does this look like when you use this in a school?
I've always done it just for my own informational purposes. And then
Mhm.
I take that information and just have a one-on-one meeting with them. Things that are working well, and then things that can improve based off of my observation and this assessment. And then just have a conversation with them. Do they feel like their lowest area is in training, that they did receive the training, but they just don't understand and they need more training? Or are they hitting a roadblock when it comes to using the materials or doing the process? And do we need to look into that? Do I need to model more of what could be done during that situation? And then we just make a plan going forward.
So when you sit down with them, do you find the sample interventions on here helpful as like a good starting point? Um, is that a part that you use?
I have, because we use behavior skills training a lot, but sometimes time gets away from us as well. So these reminders of strategies are very helpful when working with staff members.
Okay. So then my question for you is, do you think that this could be helpful for other people in leadership positions or support positions that are trying to work with teachers? I think at the end of the day, teachers really are trying their best. They're trying to do 50 billion things, and we're asking a lot of them. And I think sometimes when you're too close to the problem, it can be really challenging to identify what it is. So do you think this tool could be helpful for other people to kind of help? I don't want to say diagnose because it's not really diagnosing, but to kind of help them figure out what's going on and where we might need to pinpoint our interventions.
Will say that I have, after finishing the checklist, I have taken it to the principal of the school of where that staff member is working, not as a I got you kind of way, but just to have them understand because they're seeing the block too of the performance not being as high as we would like to see it. So both of us being able to look at the checklist and seeing the areas of strengths and weaknesses help them make a plan or build action steps to help that staff member as well as me. And that's even after I've sat with the staff member and I'm still not seeing results from our collaboration.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I do like about this tool is that it's relatively simple language. I don't think you need to be a BCBA who's gone through the entire course sequence and done all your supervision and now you're certified. I don't think you need all of that to use this tool, actually. I think that pretty much anyone can look at most of the questions and be able to be like, yeah, this is happening, or no, it's really not happening. I mean, questions like, are the materials necessary to complete the task well organized for their intended purpose? You don't need any special credential to know what that means. So I think that it's a relatively easy tool to use, which I do think is nice in education when we cross across a lot of different fields. Being a behavior analyst, being an educator, being a social worker, being a school psychologist, being a teacher. We don't all have that common language, but I think this tool is, like I said, relatively simplistic in that way.
And like
Um,
another example, the reduced task effort. Um, Sometimes they're not putting in a referral, or sometimes they're not taking data because the system that they have is just too difficult for them. So it's looking at the environment and looking at their system and how can we streamline this so it's just picking up the clipboard and highlighting something rather than writing a whole page, because that's what the referral sheet tells you to do or something like that. And so it's nice for other administrators, related service providers, and people who are working with that particular staff member to help them realize and to see that other things can be done to get to the same solution.
Yeah, and I really like how you talked about this as a tool to help have a conversation. It's not a gotcha. It's not I came in and I've checked off, oh, nope, 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 you got six no's, and so now you're in trouble. That's never going to help anybody. But versus saying, okay, we looked at this and it's an objective way to start talking about where the trouble areas are so that everybody, because again, I do think teachers want to do well. And so helping them figure out you seem overwhelmed or you seem like you're having trouble. I think this is the area that if we focus on this, this will help you be more effective, which I think hopefully at least will be reinforcing for everybody.
Indeed.
Well, Stephanie, is there anything else that you want to share about using this tool?
I just, I really like how it's laid out with the different areas that you can focus on. And as we talked about, the interventions that can be used are very helpful in helping staff members and troubleshooting. How can we help the classroom environment to help the student who's in that classroom.
Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate your time.
I really enjoyed being here. Thank you.
And for our listeners, we will see you on our next episode. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Behavior Education Connection. Join us next time for another great conversation about behavior analysis in the schools. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on an episode. Sending out a special thanks to the Virginia Department of Education for supporting our work. We look forward to connecting with you all again soon.